Hello, thank you for joining. I think we can get started straight away with you. The rest will find us on the way. Today we are going to be talking about Python. Otherwise, how are you?
Quite fine, Simon. How are you yourself?
I am okay. Thank you for joining. Mm.
I think you can go ahead.
So, I believe you can see my screen.
Yes, I can.
Yes, I have opened a new VS Code. So, I already have a folder that we created yesterday. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to click on File and then Open Folder, and it's on the desktop. So Python 2024, I will select and open it. So this is the line of code that we wrote yesterday, and we are going to start building from here. However, before we start writing some lines of codes, I would like to explain a bit about Python. So, uh, maybe the question you would ask yourself, why Python? So if you would like to be able to program on different platforms like Windows, Mac, and Linux with an easy to read syntax similar to the English language, or if Python is your solution in this case. So it is a high-level programming language that works across many different platforms. So by the end of this lesson, you will understand the benefits of learning Python and know where it can be applied. So let's try to look at the brief history of Python. So Python was created by Guido van Rossum and released in 1991. It was designed to be highly readable, borrowing many similarities from the English language and mathematics. So since its release, Python has gained tremendous popularity and now supports a rich selection of frameworks and libraries. So it is currently one of the most popular programming languages in the world, widely used across various sectors such as web development, artificial intelligence, machine learning, data analytics, and numerous other programming applications. Because of its readability and ease of use, fewer lines of code that you have to write, productivity and speed, versatility and popularity, and also the career opportunities that comes with knowing this language. So without wasting much time, let us go straight into writing some lines of codes where we will begin by explaining or understanding the Python syntax, especially when you are dealing with spaces. So in Python, spaces matters a lot. It is not like any other programming language like JavaScript or any other languages. So spaces and indentations are key. So you will explore Python syntax and learn how both white spaces and indentation can impact a program when used incorrectly. So let us dive into some example to illustrate this concept clearly. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new file, a Python script called Python underscore syntax dot py. So I'm just going to start writing a print statement. So this is going to be just a basic statement, and in this new Python file. So using our VS Code, I can type print open bracket, full colon, and then I will just write a string 500 days run. Just as simple as that. So when I run this code, the text 500 days run appears in the terminal panel. So this is a straightforward example showing how to generate a line of text using the print function. So what I'm going to do to run this code, I'm going to open the terminal and choose new terminal. So it will open down here. So from down here, let me try to close my conda to give us some space. Okay. So I'm going to write Python and then the name of my file, Python underscore syntax dot py. Then I will press the enter key. Oh, I get an error. Interesting. So command Python not found. Did you mean command Python 3 from dep Python 3 or Python from this? So since I have closed my conda, this has caused me an error. So what I need to do, I need to use, I'm on Ubuntu, I'm running Ubuntu. So I need to include Python 3. Let me try that. Python 3. And the name of my file, Python underscore syntax.py, and press enter. Oops, I don't see anything coming up. Let me figure out why it's bringing me an empty output. So if I use the button here, what happens? Yeah, using the button is able to run my code, but why am I not able to run the code from using Python command? Because I'm using Jupyter Notebook, so I mean not Jupyter Notebook, Anaconda. So the environment variable, when I deactivated, was not able to find where my interpreter is. So let me try again by running Python 3. The name of my file, Python underscore syntax dot py, and press enter. Now it is able to run smoothly, and we can see the output, 500 days run. Now let us say we want to use another print statement on the same line to output the text 500 days run fast track challenge. So we might think of writing print open bracket full colon, and then we just add fast track challenge. So our intention is to output the text 500 days run fast track challenge using these two print statements. However, even just from our code here, VS Code can already tell us that statement must be separated by new lines or semicolons. So we are already trying to understand some syntax error that might be displayed. So if we try to run this code again by running Python 3, or since I'm using the Anaconda, I can just run Python, the name of my file, Python syntax dot py. If I enter, it is able to print the first line of code. However, this one is not printed. So if I use the button here to run, that is where I'm now going to get the error. I don't know when I use Python it is able to display, but when I run from the button it gives an error. So here we'll find that we get an error saying that it is a syntax error, invalid syntax. So what we are trying to write here is not a valid syntax in Python. So this happened because Python's interpreter does not know where one statement ends and the next one begins. So there are two ways to solve this problem. One is to move the second print statement to another line by pressing the enter key before the print statement of the second line. So if we run this code, we are able to see that 500 days run fast track challenge are printed. However, they are printed in two separate lines. Then another way to write this would be on a to write this multiple statement on a single line is by separating them with a semicolon. So if we take this line back and then we put a semicolon before the print statement, we are able to have these two lines of code on working correctly on the same line. So if we run, we still get 500 days run fast track challenge. Now, what is the impact of white space in Python?
Simon, I'm seeing down that stayed on 2 lines. I thought they would become 1 line.
Okay, by default, if you write, if you use a print statement, by default it will print each of the statement on a new line by default.
Okay.
So
that is clear. I thought you meant
so that is why you are able to see this line is separate for the first one, and in another line it has printed fast track challenge because of that reason. Now let's create two variables to all some values from our data set. This is the data I collected today. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to capture these two pace for the first kilometer and for the second kilometer. So I'm going to comment this line of code. A comment in Python is you use hash to comment a line of code if you don't want the interpreter to read that code or to execute that code. So the moment we run our file, our script, we are not able to see any output because this line of code is not being read by the interpreter. So comments allows us to add meaningful information when we are working with or when we are writing our code. So later on you can come back and see what that line or piece of code is doing. So what I'm going to do here, we want to see the impact of white space in Python. So I'm going to create two variables. To all pace for the first and second kilometers. So the first kilometer and the second kilometer to all these two paces. So I would say pace underscore for first kilometer is equal to, let's say, 4 minutes I'm supposed to capture it as a string 0443. So 4 minutes 43 seconds, and also pace for the second kilometer is equal to 0404. So this one in terms of minutes. Maybe if we are to calculate this a little bit fast, instead of using, because we want to do some calculation on it. So what if we say we convert these to seconds? 4 minutes 43 seconds, that will be how many seconds? 120 plus 120, 240. 240 plus 43. It is what? 284. So when we convert 4 minutes, 4 seconds, that would be like what? 4 times 60 is 240, 244, right? So we will have 244 seconds. This one in terms of seconds. This one also in seconds. So pace per kilometer in seconds. This one also paced in kilometer. Pace per kilometer in seconds, pace per kilometer in seconds. Okay. Now, if we create another variable to get the total seconds, so if we say total pace is equal to pace per kilometer for the first kilometer plus pace for the second kilometer. So eventually we can print the total pace. So when we run this code, we are able to get 528 seconds. So the code is correctly printing 528 seconds when we run it. Now, if we had a random number of spaces around the plus symbol here, so if you add a random spaces and then we run the code again, still the output remains 528 seconds because Python ignores the extra spaces around operators within a single line. However, issues arise when additional lines are introduced without proper continuation. For instance, um, if we add another variable here for the third kilometer pace, for the third kilometer, is 254 seconds, I believe. If we convert 4 minutes 14 seconds to seconds, so this should give us 254. Now, if we had this, if we are getting the total pace, and then here we enter new line and put a plus, and then we put pace for the third kilometer. Let me comment here. So the total pace. So if we are adding the first kilometer plus the second kilometer plus the pace for the third kilometer. So if we run this line of code, we will find that the output is still returns 528 seconds, because the interpreter only executed the first line for day one, pace for the first kilometer plus pace for the second kilometer. So it ignored this what? Pace for the third kilometer on the next line due to incorrect continuation. So we did not write a correct continuation for these paces to be added. So to fix this, we can use a backward slash to indicate the line continuation. From here, we can put a backward slash like this. So this will tell Python that there is a continuation of this line on the next line. So if we run the code again, you will find that the total distance is 782. Okay, 782 seconds. So that is the importance of working with spaces in Python. So what about the indentation in Python? Indentation is crucial in Python as it defines the structure and flow of the code, particularly within the control structures like the if statements. For example, let me comment all of this. And clear my terminal here. So for example, if I say I create a variable called challenge underscore days is equal to 500. Let's say total So when you are naming a variable, you don't need to put spaces. So we are going to talk about that deeply when we are looking at variables itself. Now from here, if I write a statement, if statement saying if total challenge days equals to 500, full colon, enter, you would see that automatically my cursor is indented. So then I put a print statement to print total challenge days. So when I run this code, 500 this code outputs 500 because the print statement is properly indented under the if condition. But what happens if the indentation is removed? By bringing this one back. So the moment I run this code, what happens? The code results in indentation error. Expected unindented block after if statement on line 17. So Python requires unindented block after control structures like if statement. So the error message will point to you the specific line where the issue was detected, making it easier to identify and correct. So by carefully reading the error message and ensuring proper indentation, you can avoid many common pitfalls in Python programming. So next, now we need to begin talking about variables, which will come after. I think from tomorrow we will begin talking about variables. So what we have covered today on in all was just understanding the role of white space and indentation as they are fundamental to writing effective Python code. So proper use of these elements ensure that your programs run smoothly and are easy to read and maintain. So always remember Python is designed to emphasize readability, and adhering to this principle will help you become a better programmer. Thank you all of you joining in. If there is any question, please ask.
Yeah, just a quick question. Okay, where can, for example, I'm just interested in learning how to get these, I don't know what they're called, for example, print and whatever you write next. So such statements that are compatible with Python, like print and what, where can I find them? How do I know this one does that? Where is there any platform online I can find them? Where I use with instances I can apply them. I don't know if you get my question.
Yes, I've got your question. So this print statement is a function. So the built-in function, they're called built-in functions. We'll talk about them more when we reach that area of functions, working a function or defining function in modules. And the keywords that are used in Python, like the if, the print, this is a function. We are going to be using some. To get more hands-on on this, you can refer to the Python documentation. So they have all those functions. I explained how you can use them or how you can apply each of those statements, each of those functions. We will also be talking about methods. There are built-in methods that we can use to solve problem quickly. So when we read that part, you will understand more. But for now, if you want to go ahead, you can look for Python documentation. You can just, if you go to the browser, you should be able to find Python docs. Here, docs.python.org.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so you will be able to find a number of issues you can execute, you can run them. Another question?
That is it from me.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for joining. Let's catch up tomorrow.